on. You have got to understand this at some point. Just to come after me. How? What? I did what? I did what?
What's up, y'all? It's Brian Keith, and I'm back with another video. And today we're going to talk about the Housewives of Beverly Hills reunion part 2. This was hilarious. I was laughing up a storm. First of all, I want to let you guys know I got my iPad. Yeah, but yeah, we're gonna get into the video. That whole situation with Kyle versus Sutton, they were over here wearing each other out. But y'all, like, comment, subscribe. Let's get into the video.
Yeah, let me check my shit real quick. Hotter than the fire coming out my flaming lips. You wanna play with me? You can't play in me. On the playground, bitch, you can't play with me. Got it, won it, securing the bag.
All right, so we pick up where we left off with Dorit and Kyle basically talking about the status of the relationship, and Dorit feels like, you know, Kyle, yes, was going through something, but she felt like she was left out. She felt like Morgan took the place of her. She felt like she wasn't being open enough, and Kyle was just sitting there just like, okay, you kept implying that we had such a deep friendship and did all these things, but I was going through something, so I was becoming more recluse from you because I needed to focus on myself, my family, my well-being. And she was like, I bonded with Morgan, I bonded with these other people, and you felt some type of way because I wasn't being close to you and wasn't being open with you. So then it spun off with Kyle versus Sutton, because Sutton over here felt like, you know, it's okay for you to withhold information and for you to, you know, she basically tried to imply that Kyle wasn't sharing her personal life on the show. And Kyle was just like, you want to tell me that I'm not sharing my life? This is coming from the girl that had a life coach and bought a horse.
Life. You bought a horse this season and you have a dating coach. Give me a break.
Right. And it was funny because sounds like so she was like, I share my marriage. I've been on the show since my kids were 2. They over here graduated college, went to high school, got married, did all these life events. So, and she was like, I fell out with my sister, had 2 sisters on the show, all these things. So don't sit up in here and try to tell me that I do not open and share my life with you guys, because I do that well enough, right? But it was funny because they get on the whole drinking situation, and like Kyle was telling her, like, you know, at the end of the day, you like try to sit here and say that I had a drinking problem, and you basically came after me the whole show. And Sutton's like, what? Kyle's like, what? It was done. That was hilarious. Kyle mocking Sutton. I'm like, girl. It was good. But more of the story, I just feel like they went tit for tat. Kyle, you accused her of having an eating situation, and not gonna say the eating disorder, but you implied it, period.
Because you said I had a drinking problem that I don't eat. That is reckless in and of itself. I don't know if it was, you know, your medicine for your feet, or I didn't know if that was your first drink.
And Sutton, you implied that Kyle was over here doing certain things as well. And on top of that, you talked about her change of lifestyle. Y'all implied that she might be a lesbian. You got Garcelle to talk about her marriage. Like let's not be dumb, right? So, you know, we spin off to Garcelle and Dorit. So Dorit's talking about, you know, her life and the status of everything with her PTSD, but she also felt some type of way with Garcelle because she felt like Garcelle basically disrespected her on the show during her interview when she talked about, you know, the jewelry that she still had after her robbery.
That it wasn't real.
No. I believe you were robbed. I just thought there were a few things that were a little off.
Now, Dorit felt very offended, I guess so. And Garcelle was like, you know, I said what I said, basically, you know, if that offended you, I mean, I'm sorry. However, I stated what I said. Like, I mean, when my whole thing is this. I've been saying this for 2 years that, you know, allegedly her situation was insurance fraud. Because when we saw the security footage, we saw all of this, like Garcelle is saying, I don't know what motherfucking robber that is over here had a to your head and someone else is telling him to. I don't know who's going to be like, oh, can you leave my phone? Da, 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 da. I I don't see it either. So it, like, you know, maybe there's some robbers that come in here and break down your house. And over here, I feel like once they put a gun to your head at that point, I don't see it panning out right. You know, I don't wish that on my worst enemy, but I'm just confused. I'm just like, so the robbers was just that nice.
What other details?
Well, I thought it was strange that a robber would be so kind to listen to you and leave your phone by the gate because you asked him to.
Like, Garcelle was making points, and I get where Dorit is coming from. Like, you know, this is my reality. This is what had happened. Cool, that's fine. However, I have questions, and just like everybody else have questions. It just don't make sense. They broke your windows. You have these big, giant windows. There's a lot of things that had happened that it just not 2 + 2 is not equal to 4. So I don't know. Like I said, I agree with Garcelle. Like, something didn't make sense. Okay? But Dorit's like, yeah, you know, my kids were there and I was over here. Like, we get it. Cool. I think for me, with the whole overarching thing was when the situation happened, you filmed literally the next day on camera. Your husband flew in from London and went straight to Kyle's house, said F the kids, and went straight to Kyle's house to film.
Please don't take my cell phone, please. He said, count to 40, I will leave your phone by the gate.
Wow.
Yeah. And he left. Wow.
I know people that have been through traumatic situations and a pin can drop and they will lose their mind, literally. So I just don't know what Dorit, for me, she already gives me produced, she gives me fake, and I just don't believe anything she says, unfortunately. And throughout this whole entire reunion, they was tagging her left and right. Sorry.
It's not though, Andy.
Okay.
Because words have weight.
You were staying somewhere else.
Yes, we were
Words
not.
have weight.
We were not.
You were off course.
Dorit's basically telling, like, Garcelle, like, you know, you have to understand, like, what you said was very hurtful. Words have weight. And I know Garcelle's just like,
Words have weight, huh? Yeah, I bet they do.
They also talk about, you know, Dorit's relationship with PK. Like, you know, they were basically heading towards divorce, and she was like, it was in a dark place. The whole Pretty Woman situation wasn't really great to me.
Tell me now, how are the two of you doing?
After we wrapped, things got progressively worse. And him and
I understand that she wanted control, but he was trying to do a surprise, and her with, like, do you do this, do you do that, instead of just going into the situation, like just having a good time, being with your husband. It would have tore my nerves up too. And I'm just like, you know what, I'm not gonna do no more surprises for you, because you can't even appreciate and be in the moment. You're worried about A, B, C, D, E instead of being in the moment. And she would have irritated my fucking nerves. Right. So Dorit felt like Kyle wasn't opening up about her marriage, and because Andy asked, like, how do you feel about, you know, Kyle basically not telling you about, you know, the status of her marriage. She was just like, she felt very hurt because you know, she thought they were in a good place, but watching the show, obviously they're not. And Kyle was just like, at the end of the day, you know, you being my friend, I'm just surprised that you would, if you're so close to me, why wouldn't you pick up the phone and ask me about my marriage instead of bringing it up on camera or bringing it up in the car when there's a camera? And she has a point. There's two situations to this. One, Kyle, you're on TV, so girl, we already know what it is. But two, I do get what she's saying. Like, girl, if we're supposed to be so close, like you're saying we're so close, why would you bring that up on camera? You could have called me first. You don't see Robin and Giselle over here throwing each other on the bus. Like, I mean, like, if y'all supposed to be just as close as you saying, Dorit, like, you really did throw her out there to the wolves. I'm just like, damn. If that was my friend, I'm just like, girl, first off, me and my friend would already had that conversation. So for them to bring that up on camera, I've been pissed off too. Like, girl, why you fucking bringing this on camera? Like, girl, we just already had this conversation. What's going on?
something was going on.
Yeah.
But being her friend and not knowing, it felt a bit strange. If you're going on trips or doing things, I know what you're doing.
Are you saying I wasn't struggling?
I just felt like, look, at the end of the day, I wasn't ready to share this information. I was already in a dark place. Y'all wanted me to talk about something I did not want to talk about. And I tried to, you know, give as much as I could. She was like, I didn't know where my marriage was going. You know, it was what it was. But y'all were trying to force something that I did not want to talk about. And I get that. That's why you're going to have so much pushback. You want me to talk about something I want to talk about. Yes, I'm going to be pissed off and disengaged from you. So, you know, Andy talks, we on Erica's segment. Andy talks about, you know, her whole new segment, special, Bet on Blonde. And Andy asked Sutton, like, you know, you threw shade saying that her ticket prices were over here $700.
In the group that you did not want to show empathy towards Tom's alleged victims because
talks about the whole Denise thing. And she's just like, you know, at the end of the day with Denise, like, you know, the reason why we kept going back and forth, because she tried to give up fighting for Lent. It didn't work. But she was like, Denise was asking for it. She was begging for it. She was for it. So I had to, you know, treat her just 2 times. And I felt embarrassed for Denise. Like, I'm not gonna hold you. Denise really made herself look crazy 2 times. And Erica just like, you know, it was what it was. Like, she wanted it. I gave it to her, period. So we get on the whole situation about 2 years ago with the whole legal situation. He was like, you know, people, the audience, have been saying that you have not been showing empathy, and she has not been showing empathy. Her explanation did make sense. You know, she was just like, you know, at the end of the day, I was in a hard situation where I could not agree or disagree. So I just sat there and wouldn't say anything. However, she did say stuff, and the stuff that she said came out as harsh, wicked, mean, cruel. Those are the things that came out. It came out very much unsupportive of the victims.
When you're going through legal process like this, they ask you not to comment on anything either way. So it's almost like you got to shut up.
And like she said, she couldn't go either way. Cool, that's fine. But I just don't feel like that was a good play for her. Now, do I feel like this season helped her rebrand? Hell yeah. But those other 2 seasons, I mean, you still went through that, and that's what you did, right? So she says that, you know, she met with the victims, and you know, her counsel, I guess her lawyers, her team, basically told her to do that. And Andy was like, well, you know, why did you sit down with the victim? She was like, I can't say that. And he was like, well, why can't you say that? She was just like, I can't say that. So, but she did say, you know, I found out a lot of information. Like, you know, one of my checks was in one of their trust funds. So I'm like,
Girl.
I'm going to jail, bitch!
Mr. Tom was just doing a lot. Just moving stuff around. Girl. So we get on Tom's, you know, illness, being that, you know, Tom has dementia. And allegedly, child. And, you know, but he's still standing on trial. And they're like, Crystal and Garcelle question, they're like, okay, so how is he standing on trial? He is sane enough to, you know, speak for himself, but he's not sane enough to go to jail. So it's just one of those things where I'm just like, for me, it doesn't make sense. If you're not mentally in a space to be held accountable to go to prison, then how are you to stand on trial? Whatever, right? So Krista feels like, you know, something's off, and she was just like, you know, it doesn't make sense. I think it was one of her relatives. I don't know if it was her father or her grandfather, but she was like, one of her relatives, you know, had dementia, and they progressed, like, you know, very fast, and, you know, the life expectancy after your diagnosis is like 9 years. So she was just like, at the end of the day, like, it just doesn't seem like plausible. And she was like, okay, at the end of the day, Erica told her, she was like, if you're trying to say that he's faking it, then you just say that. I said, oh.
That's what we're saying.
Okay. But, you know, what's funny, Garcelle whispers over, like, when they went to, like, you know, a commercial. So she told, like, okay, so something just doesn't make sense. Like, you know, if he's over here, you know, already this bad, and he's this age, and it's already 4 years that he deteriorated this quickly, like, and then Crystal's like, yeah, something doesn't make sense. And then Garcelle's like, right. She was like, somebody's lying. And Crystal's like, yeah, her.
But the way he was, 4 years later for him to be confident, so somebody's lying.
Then it would be her.
So we get on the whole Magic Mike situation with Sutton and her whole situation. And they were just like, okay, just say that the reason why you bought the ones is because you wanted to get freaky deaky on with the strippers. But she was like, well, the reason I didn't do it was because I brought the ones for everybody. But when I saw the legs spread open, that was just too much. I'm just like, girl, have you not been to one of these before? Like, what's going on? You brought the ones, you knew what's up, you know you about to make it rain. Well, you just wasted ones, whatever. But she was like, yeah, you know, I overreacted. It was what it was. Boom. So we talk about Sutton and her ex-husband, and, you know, how he has such control over her that, you know, the reason why she acted a fool at the weed party was because he basically told her that she and her son will be moving to London with him. And mind you, this is her ex-husband. So to me, I'm just like, my ex-husband telling me I'm about to get up and move to London. You have lost your mind? Because no, ma'am. She finally stood up to him, and she's like, it took a lot, which I can only imagine. He's a very powerful man in the world. I don't know what he does. It's none of my business. But at the end of the day, like, she stood up to him, and she was just like, look, I'm not going nowhere. And, you know, I guess he was receptive to it. It was cool. But, you know, Kyle and Sutton clashed over the whole situation with the weed party. And Kyle was just like, at the end of the day, you were relentless. And, you know, you try to make the situation about you, but then try to blame me for your situation. And I missed this in the beginning of my review. But Dorit questions Sutton about her drinking. Because Crystal threw it off. Crystal was like, I don't think that, you know, Kyle accused her of having a drinking problem. I think Dorit did it. And basically, Dorit was just like, well, give me an example. And I'm like, girl, you said that she pours vodka in her coffee. Like, what are we talking about? And then she was like, well, I don't think I accused her. None of us accused her of having a drinking issue. I'm like, but you did, though. And that's the thing, is just like, you want to absolve yourself from the situation. But even with Sutton, I'm gonna get to it. But even with, I'm just like, you try to absolve yourself from the situation. But it's like, you said what you said. Like with Sutton, you want to say that, I wasn't saying all this stuff about Kyle. Or when Sutton pulled the whole stunt, me and my horse, she said, I have a store, I have this, I have that. It's like, girl, you was just throwing shade at her as well, saying that whatever with Erica was a joke. So, like Kyle said, it was a joke. Like, you trying to make it irritated me. I just felt like Sutton looked like a hypocrite. Like, you can't get mad for her doing the same thing that you just did, right? But that was really the end of the show for part 2. I'm ready for Kathy to come out and spook the girls. But y'all, like, comment, subscribe, and I see you guys in the next video. Comment down below, let me know what you guys think. Peace.
Brian Keith, LG, Black Pete. Bet you didn't know we the Holy Trinity. Now let a God stop a dollar, break your head here. Step into the room and get up in the bed. It's too sweet, that's cause I'm good. It takes all cause I'm better than the hood. Cause I get you hyper when I'm running all around, cause I excite ya.